Kia ora te whanau, nau mai haere mai ki Flowkōrero. Finally we're here. We're here to drop the infamous episode that's been taking forever, that it feels like it, but it was all a part of the journey, I guess, because it brings me to a vulnerable space tonight that I want to share. A little bit different at the moment because I'm not only the student, I'm the teacher, so I guess if someone was to ask me these questions, it'll be easier, but it's me doing both. And for the first one, it just feels so kind of nerve-wracking, but I'm here for it too. So I've got my laptop with me and I'm going to be taking notes from it, bullet points, and we're just going to speak my life into existence, my life experiences. This episode, I'm going to take you on a vulnerable ride with me. It's deep, it's raw. Let's unpack and unravel and bring my story into existence. Fucking don't know what to do with these hands. And aroha mai, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to swear on some of these platforms, but I guess as we go, we'll grow and we'll just go from there. So, ko ema pānapa tōku ingoa. I was born and raised in Hastings, and throughout my childhood I grew up in Flaxmere, Hastings, and in Wairoa. So my mum is from Wairoa and my whanau, and this is my mum, Raywin Thompson, and I share her in the story tonight because she's the main character. Yeah. Her passing, her life, and everything is how I became me. Yeah. So Dad was a jockey and Mum was a registered nurse. So growing up, being in the stables, Dad always had fond ideas of me being a jockey, and I remember being in someone's stable and I rode the biggest horse and I kept kicking it and making it, try and take off, and it did, and it bucked me off. And that was the end of that journey. I remember the smell of the horses, the barns, the stables, just all those good memories. Always been with my dad. I was like his right-hand man. I was always with my dad. When he was no longer a jockey, he became a contractor for some of the orchards in Hastings. And I used to be in all the orchards. I used to be driving the hydro ladder. If you know of that, then you know what I'm talking about. So 7, 8 years old, driving the hydro ladder, boosting through the apple trees, and yeah. Mum was a nurse. The only memory of her that I remember of her being a nurse is I was having an asthma attack when I was maybe 6, I think. 7, maybe 6. And Dad rushed me into Hastings to where Mum worked at Royston Hospital. And he's ringing the doorbell, and I'm laying down in our full cortina that we were so embarrassed to own. And it's taking ages. It's like 10 minutes and I'm struggling to breathe in there. Anyway, Mum finally comes to the door and Dad's like, "Where have you been?" She's like, "Oh, we were out the back having a smoke." And he's like, "Oh, this bloody girl's having an asthma attack." And so we go in and then we go on. I get put on the nebulizer and yeah, that was that. But I do remember they wear like this watch and like this star, or if you're a nurse, then you know what I'm talking about. It's, I don't know, I just always thought, oh, you're so amazing, Mum, to have that badge. If there ever was a time that I was going to tell my story from a child, or my childhood, or my inner child, I would explain it as I had that white picket fence upbringing. So mum and dad owned their house. They had stable jobs. We never wanted for anything because we had everything. Well, you know, mum was simple, but she was fair. And it was just simplicity. We were rich in life. Yeah. I remember the last memories, I feel, my mum went to take my sister to Havelock North boarding school, girls' boarding school, I think it was. And all I could think was, why are we going to these types of schools? And this is weird, you know? But anyway, it was a beautiful childhood. Sunny, hot days in Flaxmere. 50-cent ice creams down at our local shop on Scotch Drive. I remember always scavenging for some cents. Even when the lollies used to be like, 5 cents back in those days, when we had 5 cents around. I remember hot days after school and on the local parks, we'll be walking home and there'll be big sprinklers, watering the grass. And they're those humongous ones where you touch the water, it froze your arm away. And so I would always look forward to a hot, sweaty, sunny day, going home and running through that, and just following it around as it ticks around to water the grass. Other memories of hot days were playing outside, walking the streets, walking to the parks, because we lived so local to parks and shops that we could just go for a couple-minute walk, and it was safe and we knew what we were doing and where we were going. I remember enjoying spiders is what we called it, but sodas is what we called it, but they're known as spiders. So ice cream and Coke or ice cream and Sprite, and they were amazing. That was a fond childhood moment that I could remember. So I think by telling this brief introduction of who I am as a little girl honours my inner child. It gives space for her to feel heard, and to feel safe. It's my safe space. Flowkōrero is my safe space. It's a space that I yearned for a lot of times in my life. We'd always go back home to Wairoa, where my nan and pop's whare is. It's our homestead. And I have many, many memories there. Many great memories there. Fuck. And we didn't have to want for anything there. Nan and Pop kept the gardens and the grounds and the whare immaculate. We had all the fruit trees you could think of, walnuts, chickens, a pig, horses in the paddock, all the cuzzies and just all the cool things that you could do, the whanau vibe, that loving and abundance of aroha and whanau time. I miss those days. I'm a real creative person in many different ways. And I feel like I get that from my mum. She used to dress my sister up for Halloween and for school shows and stuff. And I tend to do that with my kids too. And I find the spark in seeing how cool my babies look and how my babies enjoy dressing up. And it reminds me of my mum and all those memories of growing up with her. And she could make anything out of nothing. And I feel like I have the same trait. Yeah. Many fond memories of my mum. Not going back to Wairoa or Hastings intentionally in these last in the last 28 years. I had only been home to Wairoa maybe 5 times, and to Hastings maybe 10, or a little bit more. Hastings was a little bit okay. Wairoa, I didn't want to go home and feel the mamae that I thought I had let go of. And it was just suppressed mamae that I wanted to forget. But our body doesn't forget, eh? Our memory may, if we suppress it enough, but our body remembers. And so when I would go home, I'd feel it. I'd feel everything that I was trying not to. This year I went home to Wairoa intentionally to let go of things that ain't mine, to let it go, to set it down. And I went to see Mum and I told her, this is why I'm home. And I thank my auntie for taking me home too. She always said she's going to take me home. But I never thought that by her passing, she would take me home. Yeah, so we went up there. We done some mahi. We done some healing. And I just let go of everything that was not mine and didn't serve me. And it was heavy. But when I left, I was so light and I was so free. And that opens the door for me to take my babies home, to show them how I lived when I was growing up, to give them the same love that our nan and pop and whanau gave us. I not long went home to Hastings. So both these places hold my heart. They hold everything. That's home for me. And I went home to Hastings because my auntie was ready to pass. So I was going home to spend time with her and our whanau. But I didn't know that I was going home to awhi parts of me when I lost Mum. Aroha mai whanau, if you're listening, this is real deep and probably sensitive at the time. So I'm there, I come into the whare, see the whanau, and instantly in the hallway, Auntie's in her room, and in the hallway, I can hear her breathing. And that sound of her breathing took me back to when Mum is only a few streets away from where I was that day, was where we lived. And it took me back to the day and the time that Mum was passing. And I could hear her breathing like that. And I'm fucking trying not to relive that moment again, but knowing, fuck, there's a reason why I'm here, more than, there is an internal reason. And so over the weekend that I was there, I done some mahi with self. I went back to our old home, and I just released with love. And my kids helped me to feel through the experiences of what I've been through and what I'm going through. And they help me to release it because I get to remake that memory through my kids. I can awhi it and I can respect it and thank it for being an experience in my life. But it no longer holds weight to me. And so I do that by going home and living my inner child and my childhood through my kids. I take them to the places I grew up, but I change the narrative. I change the narrative from pain and I move it through myself and through my kids. And that's what helps me to let go. When I see them running around happy and enjoying it, I'm like, yeah, we're ready to set this down. We're ready to let it go. And yeah, it was a sensitive time for me, but it was insensitive to share what I'm about to share when I went back home to Hastings. So Wairoa and Hastings have my heart wholeheartedly. My whanau from my mum's side live in Wairoa. We lived in Hastings, and my uncle and my cousins live in Hastings. And between the both, that was our home. That they have my heart. Fuck, I'm really gonna do this. This is a hard one to share, e te whānau. Because it hasn't been shared in its entirety. Fucking hell, ugly crying. But I'm here to tell my story, and I'm here to be authentic, and I'm here to release. Let it hit the air and do what it needs to do. I was about 7 and 8, I think. I'm unsure. Maybe it could have been 6. And I started watching Mum going to all these hospital appointments, doctor's appointments. And I was just like, shit, you're going to the doctor's heaps, you know. I was really observant as a kid. You didn't even have to speak because I already knew what was going on. But I'll speak more on that too as we go through. So yeah, I would watch Mum go to all these appointments, doctors, hospital, and then as the time went by, I started noticing that things were changing. You know, she ended up having a operation, and I was like thinking, why are you having these operations? Or what's going on here? And I do remember one time I was hugging her, but I was aware of her puku because that's where she was mamai. And so I remember hugging into her. I can still smell her too. And going to her, innocent as, Mum, is your scar like, you know, where you got cut? Is it like a gunshot? And she was like, yeah, it's really sore. But it's like you're on fire. Oh, fuck. Oh, as I tell my story, I'm reliving the experience. And it's taking me back to the feeling of it. So, aroha mai whānau. This is really raw. But it needs to be told. Yeah, so as the years went by, it felt like years, but I'm unsure if it was. I started watching Mum get worse and get sick and start getting real bad and real sick. And then I knew fucking something's wrong with my mum. What's going on, you know? And so the biggest giveaway was the year she knew she was going to pass, she had moved my sister's birthday forward. And now I knew when my sister's birthday was because I was jealous every single time she had her birthday and every single time she got her gifts, even though my birthday's before my sister and we never missed out. I never missed out. It didn't matter. I was always jealous when it came to her birthday. And so when it came earlier, I was just like, this is so weird. Why does she get 2 birthdays now? But I remember sitting at the table with me, my sister, and I think maybe 3 friends. Everyone oblivious to things. Mum had put out snacks and a nice spread for us, well, for my sister. And I just felt real pody. I just felt real sad, like I knew something else was happening. I knew something else was going on. And I remember glancing over to my mum and just seeing her with tears in her eyes watching. Fuck. And I could just feel her sadness. And that's when I knew something's definitely wrong. And so within the months, maybe 2 or something, she started to deteriorate. I remember her being in a wheelchair and she was too weak to feed herself. I was only young and I was watching her and watching my nan do her. And then I just went over and grabbed the bowl of my nan and I started feeding her. It was jelly and vanilla ice cream. And my mum was so hungry. I couldn't get the spoon to her face fast enough. And I just remember feeding her, and in that moment I was feeling sad. Like, what's wrong with my mum? Why can't she feed herself? Why does she look like that? She was so skinny. And then the hospital bed came into home. And then my nan was there for that whole time. She had moved in with us from Wairoa. Me, my sister and Dad. And I remember Dad doing all these errands. And now I reflect, as an adult, I reflect back and think, fuck Dad. You didn't even get time to grieve. Not once did I see him cry. And it's okay to cry. And it's okay not to cry. You know, it's a personal preference. For me, it's a release. I know it is. It's a human thing to do. So the day Mum passed, me and my sister outside, hottest, sunniest day in Hastings, in Flexmere. Me and my sister out the back on our tramp, jumping away, laughing, and I just hear my nan scream. And I stop immediately and jump off and run into the room. She's screaming out, you girls, or I can't really remember now, but something like that. She's probably screaming out to my sister. Anyway, I jump off real fast and go running into the room. And I'm met with, me and my sister run into the room. And then I hear my sister run away. And I can hear the springs on the tramp, you know, every bounce. And I'm looking and my mum's off the bed and on the ground. When I run into the room, she's ripping out her lines out of her arms. Fucking hell. In that moment, all I could think was, why are you doing that? And my nan's screaming and I can hear her saying, stop it. And all the emotions were heightened. And then goes, ring the nurse, ring the nurse. So I run to the phone and I start ringing the nurse, the local nurse. It was about a 5-minute drive away. And I didn't know what to say. I was like, do I ring the nurse? I don't know what to do. I'm just going to listen to Nan. Mum's still in the room fighting. Nan's trying to fight for her to stop. I knew what was happening though. My sister knew too. I watched the nurse taking her time walking up our driveway with a satchel to her side. Tall, pakia. And I'm like, quick, quick. And then she goes into the room and the door closes. Dad gets called. He was doing errands. I go back on the tramp. My sister's eyes are filled with tears. It's like something else. Yeah. And that's when the disconnection started of my mum's whanau and us. I'm not speaking on that though. We're just going to stick to the kaupapa. Fuck, I miss her. 5 years ago, I started my healing journey. And it was because that would have been 23 years that Mum had been passed. And it was because I was like, why the fuck am I still crying? Like, I know Mum's been gone long enough now. I shouldn't be having these moments where I can't live. What's wrong? What's going on? And it was in the moment of lockdown that I decided, you know what? Fuck this. Let's unravel, let's unpack, and let's open everything up. And I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who to go to. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. All I knew was I was sick of crying. And I was sick of hiding. And I just wanted to be free from it. And it was moments of like the birth of my children. You know, that'll get me down. Or milestones for them, or birthdays, or celebrations. It would even be when I'm going through shit and life's just too heavy and, you know, you just want that comfort. Dad was amazing. Dad was the best dad he could have been. But I just knew there's just a different feel of a mother's love, a mother's touch, because I'm a mother and my kids are everything. And I just knew that that love would be different if Mum was here. I'd done lots of mahi in the 5 years of healing. Lots and lots and lots. Self-discovery of self. Forgivement, you know, forgiving. Forgiving was the biggest and hardest thing, but it was the first thing that I started with. I started with emotions, eh? And so forgiveness was my first one. Why do we have to forgive? When I realised we're not forgiving for them, we're forgiving for us, and we're letting go. And we're being able to move and keep moving to our own beat. That's when I realised, oh, forgiveness does play a big part. So a part of that journey, I found out that I had attached abandonment to Mum's passing. I thought she had abandoned me. I thought she had abandoned us, because not once did she tell me she was sick. Like, she didn't physically say, "Bub, Mum's got da 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 da," or, you know, Mum's getting sick and could potentially die. Not that we want to talk about that stuff, but it is what it is. And being so young and vulnerable and innocent, I didn't even know until this year that I had attached that abandonment to her passing. And so with abandonment came fear. With abandonment and fear came acceptance. And I've noticed throughout my life, I've had trouble accepting good, accepting bad, bad's easy, I guess, but for me, when people would genuinely help or something, I'd always feel like either I'm not worthy enough or that it's not going to last. Because why would it when the only thing that I cared about, one of the only things that I cared about left me. And so when I went home, that's what I wanted to let go of too. I wanted to give that back. I wanted to tell her that I know it's not her fault and that I'm here to set it down. So in my mum's whanau, my pop, her dad, he passed away of cancer. My mum passed away of cancer. My auntie passed away of cancer. And we've just recently lost her other sister that passed away of cancer. My first cousin, who I always thought was my auntie, my first cousin had breast cancer and had both her breasts removed. I'm unsure if I even can say these words on these platforms, but we'll find out, eh? And when I went back to Hastings, my other auntie, which is my dad's sister-in-law, my dad's brother's partner, she had passed away of cancer. So it's just fucking everywhere. But you know what? Is that hereditary? Why? If we can inherit, if we can break cycles and we can heal trauma, then we can decode codes, right? I live a very busy life, trying to maintain my hauora, my healing, looking after Dad, trying to be the best mum and partner that I can be, and trying to keep my business puhiki afloat as it develops, evolves into something. Because when we welcome generational wealth, we're trying to do things different. We're trying to change the narrative as to how it always was. Well, my nanny used to do this, and my great-great-great-great-great used to do this, and da-da-da-da-da. And my mum used to do this. I made this platform so my babies can see how resilient and determined I am to be pono and authentic, to be true to myself, to speak truth into existence, and to know that it's okay to do that, in hopes that one day they have the courage to do it themselves. That's all I ever want for my babies, Build your own narrative and make your narrative louder than anything else. Fuck, she's already been fucking a heavy one. Anyway, te whanau, this brings me to my story, my present story. That is only just a chapter in my story. Not even that, a paragraph. It doesn't even get that acknowledgement or energy from me because it's just a moment and it's just an experience. In the beginning of 2025, I found a lump. And it was nothing big, so I went about my life, as you do, I suppose. I think I was a little bit scared. Yeah. And in March, I went over to Raro and I'd done the biggest release to date over there. Whakawatia. And it was everything. It was everything I needed to close doors, to release, to let go, and to keep moving. I came back and that lump was gone. So here's me thinking, mean, you know? Fuck. Not only did I release from my human, I let go of that energy, so cool. She came back in June and she was aggressive. And all I could think now was like, who the fuck do you think you are? Try and come and take over my body. You know, like that's actually how I think. That's actually how I feel, whanau. I share this experience because I need to be able to speak it out of me. It needs to come out of me. Months and months and months of going to these appointments, of holding this energy, of feeling other people's energy. And this is where I'll tap into how I feel people. I thought, fuck, this is getting too big. I better get to the doctors. So go, make that appointment, go to the doctors. She's like, why are you here for? I've got this lump. Okay. And she's examining it. And, you know, I get dressed, we sit down. And I look at her and I can already tell. Because her wairua, her energy, it's within the shift, whanau, that I pick up. I pick up a shift and then that's what I can read. Anyway, I start reading that and she's telling me out her mouth, okay, so I think we'll just get it checked. And I already know she's worried. She feels sorry for me. And I need to learn to accept. That's what I need to learn, is to accept. And what a way to fucking experience it, right? So that started. And just the fear of going through something by yourself. Something that's in our family. Trying to keep it together. It's the thoughts, whanau. It's what goes on in our fucking hinengaro. It's what goes through our head constantly. The what ifs. You know. And I believe in myself, man. Like if there's one thing I do know, is I'm a big believer in self. But the noise is so fucking loud. You know, like you thinking deep thoughts, especially when you're a mum. But my thoughts were, fuck, I'm not only reliving a traumatic life in my experience in my life, I'm now reliving it through my mum's eyes. I'm reliving it through my mum's lens as she was going through it and raising us. And I thought, fucking hell, I've had to do a lot of shit in my lifetime, man. Look through many different views, points. Why the fuck? You know? But you get to a part in your journey where it's not why. You know, why me? Or why the fuck did it happen like this? It's what the fuck do we do now? And that's it. Because it's just an experience, right? It's got no hold on me. I'm fucking... I'm a hard lady. I'm very stubborn and very determined. And that ain't gonna bring me down. I've been diagnosed with breast cancer, whanau. And I've come to terms with it now. And I use tools to be able to lighten the load. It's the mentalness, the mental clarity, whanau. It's nothing else. Physical and everything is kei te pai. For now, I guess. It's the thoughts. And my thoughts are out the gate. You know. It's having to break that cycle of how mum never told us. And so I'm telling my children. It's having to tell my freshly 10-year-old daughter what mum's going through. And it's just like it's reliving itself constantly of what I went through with my mum. But now I get to break that cycle. Because I am the cycle breaker. And I will break this fucking cycle. That story doesn't end with me. The appointments that I've had at the hospital, I said right from the start, you know, because no one wants to hear those types of fucking, that news and stuff. No one wants to hear that. And so I said right from the start to the doctor, the surgeon and the nurse, I just want you to be honest with me. You know, because I'm not scared of this journey. I'm not. Because I know I'm going to get through it. What I am scared of is for my kids. And my dad. If you don't already follow me on Puhike, on my Insta and Facebook and TikTok, e te whanau, the journey of my dad and his dementia is over there. So I look after Dad full time. And those are the thoughts and the feels of my kids, of my partner and of my dad. Anyway, when the surgeon gives me all this information, right? He's giving me all this information that I just not resonating with. You know, fucking kupu that I don't even know what the fuck means. And I'm like, he's giving my diagnosis and I go, I'm asking all the questions. So I ask all the questions at every appointment. Now they've noted on their notes that I'm anxious. And maybe I am, but I'm not on the way that they perceive me. When I went for my biopsy, the lady's like, oh, yeah, it's noted that you're anxious. And I was like, I'm not anxious. I just want to know, like, what the fuck are we up to? What's going on with me? I don't feel like that's anxiety. I feel like that's just asking questions that sometimes you don't even have the answers to. And that's pono tū i te whanau. Anyway, I'm getting my results, my last appointment. We went through that journey of all these appointments. We're at my last appointment. I'm getting my results, and he's pretty firm. He's got his guard up, you know, and I'm just not all there. I'm not grounded. So I'm just in a phase, in a daze kind of thing. And then to get a quicker response for me or a quicker answer for me, my beautiful nurse, she is actually beautiful, and I know she's trying to do her job. She can't hide. Well, no one, not hide, but fuck, anyway. I look over at the nurse, right? And her energy, once I purposely turn towards her and show her that I want an answer, she looks at me and then drops her head. And then I knew whatever his lingo is and what he's trying to say in his medical profession is not adding up to what her energy's saying over here. This is the beginning of the journey. I wait to hear what happens from here. And I speak this out of myself to be able to bring these on the journey too. To be able to have a safe space for myself. Something that I always wanted. Something that I always needed. That safe space. This is where I return what is not mine to carry. My babies, this isn't the end of my story. I hope you witness how resilient, determined, and fucking unstoppable Mum really is. There's not a battle I haven't lost, and we're going to keep it that way. I love yous. I share my story because I'm ready for my people now. My people are with me, and those that already know are here. They're always with me. They always got me. And I'm so grateful for my people. But I'm ready to accept now. I'm ready to open up. And I'm ready for my village to come in and awhi us, to support, to tautoko my whanau, Shiv, my babies, to wrap around us with your love. Come follow Pūheke on Instagram, TikTok and Facebook, and to be the first to listen to the episodes and the podcasts that are coming in. Subscribe to my channel over on YouTube, Flowkōrero, and Spotify, Flowkōrero. Don't forget to share, like, tautoko. Yeah, we welcome it all, whanau. We welcome it all because it's a time of acceptance. It's a time to accept it is what it is, but it just ain't staying. It's just not fucking welcome here. Where we release, where we share, where we heal. Stories are medicine, and this is where we share them. Ko ema pānapa tōku ingoa, and this is Flowkōrero.